Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Empress Perustopia live show. I'm here with Waukegan, the other half of Perustopia, and we are going to be giving you guys our thoughts and feelings about the Empress, which is our book club book of the month, kindly sponsored by Simon & Schuster. I know that we did the first book in the series called The Diabolic, which I sadly don't have. I do not know where it went. I think it got lost in my move, and I'm really bummed about that. But we read that like a whole entire year ago. I was looking back at our photos that we posted for it, and my Fraser was a puppy.
I know.
I'm like, what? Even? And now I have another puppy, which I should take a picture with her with this one.
Your dogs have grown up with the.
I know. Like this year. Oh my gosh, that's actually really cute. But Reagan, do you want to give them a quick, brief overview of what the Empress is all about?
Sure. So as Sasha just mentioned, the Empress is the sequel to The Diabolic, and it takes off just a few weeks after the end. Oh my God, Fiona. Oh my God.
Isn't she like?
I can't even know how cute that is. It takes off just a few weeks after where The Diabolic left off. And if you're not familiar, The Diabolic follows our main character, Nemesis, who's literally crafted to protect the one she was made for. She is incredibly powerful, totally kick butt, and with that, she's very, very factual and kind of cold when she considers things. At the beginning of the first book, she essentially realizes to protect the one she loves most, she actually has to impersonate her at the Galactic Court. So she goes there, gets wrapped up in a whole bunch of politics, a whole bunch of other things, and she begins to feel something like humanity. And then that kind of carries us through to the second book, where at the end of the first novel, if you're watching this, you should have already read it. Insanity happened. There's an overthrow. Nemesis is now like the queen or the empress to the new galactic empire. And the beginning of this story is following the fallout and the consequences of the first book. And it is a wild ride.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You know, when I started this book, I was really worried that I wouldn't be really in the mindset for it, because, when it comes to sequels, I needed the author to kind of almost remind me what happened in the last book. And I think that's why it really helped with it being a little bit after the overtaking. Because then I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And then I was like, oh my gosh, mind blown, because so much things happened at the end of the first book.
I know.
I mean, was insane. And just the whole entire world that S.J. Kincaid has crafted about this, science fiction world where there's no new technology being created. This old one. That is so original and unique.
I know. I have to say, the world of the Diabolic and the Empress, I just think is so original and so cool. It's by far my favorite element. I mean, this whole idea of a regressive science fiction world, a society that is dependent upon technology to survive and to function. They live in space, for God's sakes. They do space travel. But science and learning itself is outlawed, and they're relying on ancient technology. So if all of this technology broke, they would be screwed. They have no idea how to fix it. They have no idea how to even comprehend. There is a line in this book about where someone referenced the theory of relativity, and they didn't even know who the guy was. They didn't even they've never heard that before. And I was like, this is crazy. Just like the whole setting of this novel is so unique.
Yeah, it's super impressive. In a way, there's lots of parallels we can make with this book, and almost for example, North Korea. There is this oppressive government that is blocking out information from coming in, and that's what they're doing. In this book, they are only letting the elites know stuff, and everybody else is pretty much in the dark. And it is
even the elites don't understand science, or
yeah, exactly.
Everyone is completely ignorant.
Exactly, and it's almost if you're elite, you're seen as oh, you're lucky, but really nobody's lucky in this world. Nobody. It's all very
frivolous.
I just don't it's crazy, this world, and I'm so I'm totally in love with the series because of that concept. For example, I just flipped open to the first chapter, and I just want to read something really quick because I just love this line. It's like a grabber that just closing the story. So it's someone had poisoned me. I knew it with a single sip. That someone was about to die.
That's such a Nemesis line.
I know, something I learned when I was a English major for a hot second, was that you need to have a grabber to open up a book to pull the reader in, and that is a dang grabber, and I love it.
That's such a Nemesis line. I mean, and the thing too, the sequel, just going back to the world really fast, I even felt like the author, S.J. Kincaid, really expanded on it in the second book. We got to leave the Galactic Court and kind of visit some other places, including a very holy place, which was interesting too, because it shed some more light on the history and how they kind of got from point A to point B. How do they go from science being the center of their world to creating this insane technology that they're able to use to point B where science is outlawed. Like, how do they get there? We kind of got that backstory, and it was so interesting. Yeah. But going back to the first line of what you said too, Nemesis is a character I just love reading from. Like, yes, we are dealing with her kind of growing into humanity, like understanding that she has feelings and they're her feelings, but that doesn't change the fact that Nemesis is like very new to her humanity, so she doesn't really understand most of the things she feels, and she's still incredibly factual and cold when she like rations through, like when she uses her own rationale to think through things. So because of it's so funny just to hear her like be like, you're my only friend, and but just like say it totally calm. It's just, it's true to her, and it doesn't seem weird to her for her to bring it up. Like, it's just, she's so funny because of that.
Yeah, you know what, something that I talked about in my review of it is just like, for example, in Zenith, we have this like android named Alfie, and he just speaks what is factual, and he just says whatever. He has no filter because he's not a human. He is a robot. So like I just like, I always love writing his like him into any bit of the book because it's always so funny and interesting, kind of writing from a like almost like a point of view of a character that doesn't think the way we do as humans. They have no filter. There's no possibility for them to really have a filter. And so they just spew out whatever they think. And so with like Nemesis, I found that so awesome and happy because if I could like, it was just made me really happy to read a book from like not a human, like a typical human's point of view. And it's just fascinating, the viewpoints that you get.
I know, but even through the story too, we got to see Nemesis. I don't want to say necessarily like form a filter because it's not like she's like trying to not speak her mind, but rather understanding that like some of her base feelings can be selfish when put on other people. And just because she wants something doesn't mean that she has the right to take away someone else's choice. And her kind of battling through her own selfishness, which is not something she's ever experienced. Because think about it, as a diabolic, she's literally, her origin before was literally to give everything for someone else. So she was the, you know, the epitome of selflessness. But in this book, she was a little bit selfish, and she had to work through that mentally, which I found to also be very interesting.
Yeah, I know. And like just finding having a character that is the opposite of a human, finding their humanity in a sense, like not like in an intense way, but in some type of way is so interesting, especially after such an amazing ending of the last book. I was really worried, for example, that going into this book, that it was a lot to live up to. And that sequels of books are very difficult to do because as, you know, a reader, you know, you're hoping that it's as great, if even better than the first one. But, you know, if the first one's so interesting and so gripping, you're worried about it nonetheless. And so with this one, like, I was so just pleasantly surprised with how instantly I was, you know, just brought back to the story after a year of being withdrawn from it. And it was just very, I just enjoyed it as a sequel. I thought it was very fulfilling. And there, of course, there are points that I was like, come on, a little bit lagging. Like, it took me a while to get into the very beginning of it. But once I reached the 100-page mark, I was like, okay, you know, it wasn't bad, but it was kind of slow, and now I'm getting into it.
I know, it's funny that you say that because I felt the same thing. Because it's almost like you had a bit of a hangover after the first one because the first one ended with such a bang that the second one had to have a bit of a slower start to kind of make up for it. And I kind of felt that same lag. I was like, okay, like, what's going to happen? But there is a point in this novel that I described in my review as like the point of no return. Like, some crap just goes down. And then the ending of this novel, I literally have no idea what the crap is going to happen next.
You know, that's why I'm so excited for the next book. Like, I didn't know, how many books are in this?
I don't know, but like, I just know I need the next one soon. Like, can we talk about that? This is a spoiler-based live show, so we can talk about that. Like, the whole thing about her, like, leaving for 3 years because of the delay of space. Like, what a concept. She comes back, and then there's, like, 50 pages there where you're, like, unsure if he's, like, faking it or telling the truth. But he was, like, ended up, and it ultimately was he was kind of faking it, but he actually really has, like, lost his humanity. And, like, he's, like, gone off, and then she's like, okay, well, now I gotta kill him now. Like, it's crazy. Like, they went from lovers to now she has to kill him. It's insane. Like, the isolation.
I know. When I was reading, I was like, what? Yes. Because
I know.
a lot of young adult books, and I'm not saying this for all of them, but a lot of them, they like to keep the romance intact and like to keep it driving, like, as a driving force. But as Stephen K's like, no, screw it, I'm going to use it to my advantage. I'm going to make crap hit the fan, and I'm super excited to do that. And I also love the concept of, you know, the space travel and it being a couple years in between, because that is such a real thing, and it's something that a lot of science fiction authors leave out because it's kind of hard to explain. And I was really happy that she put that in there. Like, I honestly want to pick her brain and just be like, what else do you know?
Well, like, two responses to what you just said. The first one is the romance thing. I thought the same. I thought it was such a cool move, because when you read enough YA, sometimes when you're faced with this pivotal moment of, is he lying or is he not lying? You're always inclined to believe he's lying because this romance has to stay intact. You know, their one true love, their love can supersede any difficulty. This book was like, nope.
Yep.
Their love does supersede, like, she's going to fix it, but like, there are consequences to your actions. But two, there's also the reality of 3 years passed for him, but like 3 days passed for her. So her closeness to the emotions of what happened before is like it happened 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Like, for her, the world hasn't changed, and everything that she's feeling is so real. And then to go back and everything was altered so much time has passed for him. Like, it's such a weird place for people to be. It's so interesting to think about how fresh her memory is of him.
Yep.
'Cause it was 3 days ago. But for him, 3 years went by.
Yes. And that's just like, that's like, for example, have you ever seen Interstellar?
No, I haven't.
So I'm not going to spoil it for you. It's the same type of concept, and it's so rattling because it's literally like turning you upside down and then pushing you forward in time at light speed, and then you're expected to just go into it like it was, you know, like it was just like yesterday, and that's not the same for everybody, and that just was so fascinating. And I was when I seen it unravel, when I was reading it, I was like, yes.
I know. It's just like I swear this book went from like 90, like 0 to like 100 so fast. It was like, okay, what's gonna happen? Like, maybe they'll like get some rebels together. Like, oh, maybe they'll get some political stuff together. You know, like typical things. But then, like, seriously, once that holy guy got killed, I was like, I have no idea what's gonna happen right now.
Yeah, no idea. And like, that's why, like, the next book, like, do you think like that the villains are swapped? Like, everything that we
like, everything different. It's completely off the rails. And like, that's what's so exciting to feel going into a third novel, is like, you have no idea where this story is going to go or take you. Like, you had expectations going into the second book because sequels generally lead you into some direction. She like played with you for the first 100 pages and being like, yeah, maybe we are going a conventional route. And then she's like, just kidding, we're taking a swerve right turn into no man's land. And I can honestly say I have no idea, besides, I guess, Nemesis going on a quest on the third novel to kill her one true love.
Yeah. And
like,
in a way, I'm like, it's so
what's going to happen to the galaxy? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I am truly just, I'm just so happy that that's how it went, because the thing is, I as much as I love like the tropey romance in books, like I honestly do, I find it's like, it's what I like in books, but I also really crave this type of other romance where it's like everything, the tables are turned. Like, I love the idea of like, you know, lovers turn enemies.
I know.
It's
so good because there's so much passion on either end, you know?
Yeah,
and it's so effective. I will say one thing about this book I wish it did have, and while I understand why it didn't, because it was a dark book, I wish it had a bit more humor, because like the first book, there was so much contrast between like Nemesis's like cold personality with people who had human emotion. So there's a lot of funny moments to kind of break up, holy crap, the world's ending. And that book didn't have as much as that. And I feel like we're going to get that more in the second book, because the other diabolic that's present is really funny too. Like, he didn't have a lot of lines, but like he's clearly going to be in the third book, and he was funny. And like thinking about both the diabolics like talking to each other, I think it'll be interesting.
I'm very curious about that. I'm super excited. Like, there's so many little points in the second book in the Empress that I cannot wait to see expanded upon in the third book. Like, I'm just very, it's like, I haven't like felt like this way about a book series in a while where I'm like, I'm curious, I'm really wanting to get this next book. And yeah, that like excitement's gonna fade a little bit, but once we like, you know, read the third book, I think it's gonna jump right back in. I'm be like, oh, those emotions.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, those are my thoughts. Do we have any questions we want to answer?
Oh, okay. So I have some questions that I want to ask you.
Yeah.
And do we have any questions right now? If you guys have questions, put it into the chat and we'll answer them in a bit. But so this world, it's really about the world is so phenomenal in the sense that, you know, how we talked about it not being progressive in technology. So one thing I have to ask is if every single technology in the world was halted, which one would you want to keep?
Oh man, the internet.
Yeah. So like electronics involved too, like any type of electronic, anything that uses.
I would say like if I could keep like one, like a computer with internet.
Yeah.
So then like even if no one's producing like new content, there's still so much content to consume that's been created right now. Like I should say relatively entertained. Like I just want to be able to, I could just watch everything on Netflix ever, you know, since the pause. Just call it a day, but like the internet. I could give up my phone. If I had a computer with the internet, I think I'd be okay. Like I could write letters, you know, like that'd be fine. But the internet.
No, I have to agree. Like, you know, the internet's so vital, and there's so much content out there. Yeah. And of course somebody else is gonna choose to keep the internet as well. So at least they'll be producing content for you. And hopefully it's good content.
Like even if that means like social media sites aren't on it, like I don't know, just like Google and Netflix. Really, I'm just asking for the Netflix to be kept.
I know, right? It's like, no, don't take away my Netflix. Yeah, no, I really agree. Like, and I do. What's one thing I do want to have in this book is just like randomly. I really want a map.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting.
It might
be hard because it's like a galaxy.
Yeah,
you know,
but
not like systems within a galaxy. It's like I think they're just like.
Actually, it's possible. As like long as you have like major galaxies, like in ZENITH, this is a galaxy, but we only highlighted the major systems. So, like, I think that's why I've been kind of spoiled because I'm like, oh, I got to create my own. But I really would like to see at least some fan art or something that shows like I want to see the worlds. I want to see illustrations of this world because it was so cool to visualize in my head. I'm like, I just want to see it.
I know, for sure.
Let me go onto the chat on the YouTube page. Oh wow, the thumbnail is just so beautiful. Lies in my head. Okay, so if you guys want to comment anything, questions. Okay. Jennifer asks, do you think Nemesis will become the next holy figure since the guy died?
Ooh, that's a really good idea.
I'm like, what do you think?
Actually, maybe.
Yeah.
Actually, that could be a potential plot point that I didn't even think of.
Oh my gosh,
this person's like smart for book 3. You know, that could really work.
Oh my gosh,
probably.
There's so much. What? That's such a good idea.
Wait, wasn't she like named? Like, I think she will.
Okay, there's like so many things that have to go into the next book, and I'm really hoping it's more than a 3-book series because at this point it's going to be a tome. Wow. That's cool. Yeah. Okay, let me see if there's another one. Okay, let me see if there's one. Okay, so somebody asked, is the Empress as good as the Diabolic was?
I would say so. So, like, I'd say the Empress has a bit of a slower start than the Diabolic, but, like, the ending to me had a bigger payoff than the Diabolic did. And that's saying a lot because, like, the ending of the Diabolic was awesome, but, like, the Empress, like, just
blown out of the park. I completely agree. Yes, I completely agree with what you said because, honestly, I love the Diabolic, and I was really worried going to the book 2. And when I was very satisfied at the end of book 2, even though it did take me some coaxing to like actually get me into the book, at least 100 pages, I was very fulfilled at the end. So I do think it was. So Jacob asked, is this book mainly aimed for just girls, or would it appeal to dudes too? I think that it's for everybody.
Yeah, I wouldn't say. I mean, first off, read what you want. First off, but I wouldn't say this is like overly girly. If anything, it's very like science and action and combat. It's very for everybody, I would say.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, it's yeah, I think that it's not like I don't know. I just think that guys and girls can read whatever books they want to read, and like yeah, some may aim towards more of the female audience, but a lot of young adult nowadays, at least that I've seen, has been really aimed to a broader audience, and I've been loving that.
Especially action and adventure. I don't really find that it's very
So Jennifer asked another question that's very good. She said, do you want another love interest for Nemesis? I personally would love her to be independent. I totally agree. I do. I don't want really Nemesis to end up with anybody now, because I want her to just be like kicking butt and then just being like, I'm awesome at the end of the day and I don't need no man.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't ever feel like, but like for Nemesis though, the interesting thing with her is like, the reason why a companion is interesting for Nemesis versus a normal human is only because, and this is my opinion, she always felt that she doesn't need any. Like she's never had a feeling where she ever needed a companion. In fact, ever thinking she wanted one was a rarity in itself. So while I don't necessarily know if I want her to have another companion, I do think it's an interesting part of her character and psyche to explore because she's never desired romantic companionship before.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, do you have something I want to see? I want to see her, just like be independent, but then at the end there's a spark of something maybe with somebody else.
I mean, like, wouldn't it be kind of interesting to explore like her aspect of humanity where I don't believe in this whole one true love thing. So like she fell in love with someone, had intense emotions. Obviously that's not working. And while I'm not saying she should go and like, date around, she doesn't really have time for that. But like the interest in exploring the fact that as a human, she will experience attraction to other people.
Yes, exactly.
What does that mean, and what will she deal with that? Like, will she'll feel guilt? Will she be confused? How could she betray the one she initially loved to feel love to someone else? Like, I feel like there could be some interesting plot points explored with that. Just because Nemesis is so new to her own feelings, I think it could be interesting if done right.
I completely agree. Something that I just found out that's like really funny, it's just like random. If you click on one of these comments, it gives you an option to put the user in timeout. It's like you're going to sit in the corner, sir. Not saying anybody said anything bad. I just noticed that. It's so funny.
That's so funny.
Okay, who's your favorite character?
That's so hard for me. I don't know. I really do love Nemesis. Like, I just think she's interesting. Like, you could explore so many avenues of her psyche because of just her nature. And I find her funny. And I like her factual personality. I just have always enjoyed reading from her.
Yeah. I feel like I'm agreeing with everything you say because I think we both enjoy this book equally as much. And I do love Nemesis. I think that her character was a breath of fresh air into the young adult genre because I had never read a book from the point of view of somebody that's so not human, that didn't experience emotions. Like the most other unique book that I read that is completely different from a normal human was Every Day by David Levithan, because it's like a body swapping. That was interesting. So I'm glad to have another book now to pinpoint when I'm like, oh, it's a unique take on humanity and people and how they work and how they function. Nemesis was definitely a very entertaining character to read, and I love her.
Totally.
Okay.
Do you want to answer one more question and then we'll announce the December book?
Yeah. So okay, so let's just do this. Would you recommend this book series?
Oh, yeah. I think this book is highly entertaining and unique.
Yep. I would definitely recommend it, especially from a science fiction writer point of view. I think that is so phenomenal, and I definitely want everybody to read this book. Reagan would want me to announce what we'll be doing for
December.
Let me grab it.
Giving me all the emotional feels right now.
I know. I'm so excited. So as last year, if you guys were with us, we decided to read the first book in the Harry Potter series, or whichever book that you would like to read. And we thought, why not do the same thing? So this month, we are going to be reading one of the books of the Harry Potter series. Reagan, are you going to be reading the first one or another one?
I think I'm going to do the first one because I wanted to kind of spark a reread throughout 2018, and I just like starting with one. Because I really want to reread 5, but I don't like to just pick up 5. Like, I feel like I have to start over every time.
Yeah, I really want to read. Let me see which book I'm on. I want to read The Half-Blood Prince.
Have you not read it yet?
No, I haven't. I have 2 books left this year, and everybody thinks that I don't like Harry Potter because
read the Half-Blood Prince.
no, I like Harry Potter.
I'll read the Half-Blood Prince with you. Like, I will scrap my 1 and I will do 6.
Want to do that then?
Yeah, I will do it.
Well, let's do that. So we're going to be reading the Half-Blood Prince, and if you guys want to join us with the Half-Blood Prince, let us know. But if you want to choose another book, that you're more than welcome to. Yeah, so I'm really excited for this next month of fun Harry Potter readings.
I know.
Yay. Okay, well, I think that comes to the end of our Empress live show. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned for next month's live show because we'll be talking all about Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Woo! Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.